Howard, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
Are we the only ones here? Is this the only planet with life on it?
Well, they told me that the universe was full of life, and that not only is there this physical universe, but there's other dimensions with other universes, and that God's sense of creating goes on and on and on, and it's just like lives and worlds and intelligent.
Higher intelligent beings than us.
Yeah, and that we are not way up on the pecking order of intelligent beings. But this is a tough world we're in. This is a world where there's a lot of temptation, a lot of struggle, a lot of opposition to God.
What would you say to people who would say, well, where does it say in the Bible there are other people out there? There are other worlds out there.
It doesn't.
And they might argue then that part of your story is incorrect then. Because a lot of people believe that if it's not in the Bible, then it isn't.
Right. You know, early on people thought like in their city they were the only people on this earth and everybody else was like not even a human being. And then we got the idea that like our race was the only race and everybody else was somehow subhuman. And now we've realized that the earth does in fact orbit around the sun. And there's, I was just reading this morning, matter of fact, about they've discovered over 50 new planets already. This whole discovering planets in the universe is happening hot and fast right now. In time, people will realize that in this vast universe of trillions upon trillions of galaxies, each with full of solar systems, that God's creative ability is just vast. You know, when you think about God, look at like, God didn't make like a maple tree. He made all different kinds of maple trees, and every maple tree is unique. You know, God didn't just make a kitty. Look at kitty cats. I mean, every cat is unique and wonderful, and God's creative nature and God's expression of God's love of the world is just without limit.
But you wrote in your book, and maybe you can explain this a little better for me than maybe how I understood it. Some people would read one of your passages that talked about the fact that if you didn't do things as you should have done here on this earth, and when you died, that maybe there was more that you had to do to better yourself, and that you might come back in some form or another. And they would look at it as reincarnation. Is that what you were talking about?
No, what I was trying to suggest is that I've met a lot of people who have lost children and things like that, and they feel that somehow the people that have been lost have been shortchanged of a life experience. And all I was trying to suggest there was that God gives everybody ample life experience, whether we're aware of it or not. Do you know what I mean? So that we don't have to worry about people being robbed of an opportunity to live, because they will live somewhere, somehow, some way. And I don't know how, where, or way, but God does. You know, because this life that we're in is about spiritual formation. That's the whole point. We're here to be matured as spiritual beings. We're not physical beings dreaming about being spiritual. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience to learn compassion and love in a world with very, very finite, limited possibilities. And God will make sure that everybody has that opportunity. No one's going to, we can't stop it.
Well, let's talk about, though, the issue of the Jewish people. You saw a vision of the Holocaust. Talk about that, because even though people can't go to the Father unless they go through the Son, the Jewish people, by and large, have not accepted Jesus Christ as their Messiah. They're still waiting for him to come. But you saw something very different in your view of the Holocaust, did you not?
Yes. I've always been disturbed by the Holocaust. And I mean, I think every right-feeling person in the world would be disturbed. What was that all about? Why did God allow that to happen if they were God's chosen people? And we went to, so I don't know how it works, but we were in a extermination camp. And the guards were kicking people and shouting at people, and there were dogs, and people were being selected, and there was a crematorium off in the distance. And I could understand, I don't speak German, but in the experience I could understand German, and the guards were saying, in German, which I could understand, more for the angel makers, more for the angel makers. And Jesus, who had his arm around me, said, look up in the sky. And what I saw was from the smoke of the crematorium, the people going up to heaven and the angels from heaven coming down and escorting them to heaven. And even more so was this, that these people who had just gone through hell, you know, through the horror of that camp and died, were now filled with ecstasy and joy.
You saw that on their faces as they were rising into heaven.
And so my understanding of the Bible is that the Jewish people are God's chosen people. The Lord and Savior of my life was a Jewish carpenter. I don't knock Jews. You know, there's one big difference between the Jewish faith and ours. We both believe in the Messiah. We believe in the same God. We believe in the same ethics, really. The big difference is that they think the Messiah is yet to come. We say the Messiah has come and will come again. I think it's, you know, not something to really fight about. I think we should treat Judaism with a great deal of respect.
But it doesn't also discount maybe each and every one of those individuals had a personal experience at the moment of death similar to yours, where Jesus came to them and gave them a choice. So we don't know whether that happened.
I would suggest that every Jew who dies is going to meet the Messiah. You know, everybody who dies will meet the Messiah, will meet the Christ.
And have an opportunity to accept or reject.
Right, because it's all about what's in your heart. Now, I'm not talking, of course, about the organ that pumps blood. I'm talking about the core of your being, which is what you really are. So a person could be a condemned murderer who's been